Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. And today we're going to talk about doing for others and not expecting in return. Do we do enough for others? Are we very giving? Are we not selfish individuals? Do we expect in return if we do for others? This is a question that I think plagues a lot of people in communities on the internet. I see this stuff all the time where it's like, well, you haven't done anything for me. I shouldn't have to do anything for you. You got to prove your worth to me before I actually express any type of generosity towards you. A stranger who you've just met, would you do for a stranger without expecting anything in return? A favor? Would you do that? How about a friend? Maybe we have a friend or we do have friends that will ask you for a favor on multiple occasions, and you do for them, just say, but they never do anything for you. Never. They're always looking for a handout. What do? Do you keep yourself, as empty in that sense, where you always giving out, using all of you? Is that okay? Is that fair? That's a good question, right? Is it fair? I think it's fair, but you also have to toe the line with somebody and say, hey, listen, I'm also not a resource that you can just use like that too, I guess, right? You could kind of brush them back a little bit if they're taking advantage of you. I'm not saying to be taken advantage of. The relationship should be mutual, but some people just don't really think about it. Some people don't do it in a malicious manner. There are people that do. I'm not saying surround yourself with people like that, but there are some people that they take a lot, but they don't give. And sometimes that's just part of life where you are going to be used. You are going to be used as a resource. Maybe you're the smartest person that you know. Maybe you're the smartest person that they know. They ask for a lot of advice. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? Not give it? You're a resource. You can help make the world better. You can help make their world better. And maybe what they're doing for somebody else based on what you tell them is going to help them in the long run. I have this podcast, for example. I'm not getting paid for this. Could it materialize into some sort of financial benefit? Of course. But if it doesn't, I'm doing it to help others. I'm doing it to speak to others and to impact lives. That is the ultimate goal of what I'm trying to do. This podcast doesn't cost you a dime to download or listen to. It's free. And there are plenty of people out there that can listen on a daily basis, maybe never contribute, comment, reach out to me, help the podcast get better. But even still, if I am helping at least one person or I'm making their lives better, that's fine. I can die happy knowing that I did that. That's how I feel. And I see that a lot of people post that's like people are passive aggressive, where they'll say one thing and then they'll subliminally send out a message on their story or their social media timeline or feed that says the opposite. For example, memes are the best way to really understand what people are really feeling. There's a lot of dual meaning and stuff where people say one thing, but they'll always post something in a meme, and it's like a cryptic message. It says, for example, I saw one the other day that says, I need to stop doing for others that wouldn't do the same for me. That's exactly what we're talking about. That meme was created because that is a real feeling. And the fact that it's on the internet and people are sharing it, it's a mutual feeling. Or don't share your plans or aspirations with anyone, and just kind of work on them in secret until they come to light and they become something. Why? It's okay to be accountable for how you feel. It's okay to say, this is what I want to do and execute it. Are you afraid to be embarrassed if you decide to quit or it doesn't work out? Are you embarrassed? Maybe. I get it. But all I'm saying is, do you really need to be so secretive, or do you really need to be so so passive aggressive about how you feel, or hiding it and then putting it on the internet so some people will see it but they'll never question you or talk about to you about it? It's very weird. Memes are like that. They're just like that, these cryptic messages. And not all of them are bad. Some of them are very funny, or they poke fun at real life situations, which is fine. I love memes. But in this situation, a lot of people talk smack. And sometimes it's directed at somebody specific that's going to see the story or their timeline. Or sometimes it's just a generalization of how they're feeling. But it's like a festering feeling, emotion inside of them that instead of addressing it, they just kind of just put it out there and you take it for what it is. Now, I believe that serving others is a part of the reason why we are here. It's the reason why we're on this earth. Now, if everybody helped someone, I help you, you help somebody else. You don't have to help me. I don't think the loop closes if you go back and help the person. In essence, if I help you and then you help me, it doesn't move forward. It just stays where it is. So I would rather help you and you help somebody else and almost pay it forward. Now, if everybody did that, it would be a beautiful world. There's a depiction of hell and there's a depiction of heaven, where in hell there's a bounty of food and there's this giant table with people sitting around it, and it's all this food, and these giant spoons, and they're trying to pick this spoon up and put it in their own mouth to feed themselves, right? But it's so hard to do. So they ultimately just sit there and starve with a feast. And then you have the depiction of heaven, where it's the same setup. There's a people sitting around with these giant spoons, but instead one picks up the spoon and feeds the other, and the other person picks up the spoon and feeds the person next to them, and so on and so forth. Everybody eats. Instead of me, how about you? And so on and so forth. If you come in with that mentality, the world would be a very pleasant place to be. Now, obviously, there are people that do that, and there are people that don't care about anyone else. They only care about themselves. And believe it or not, being selfish in that manner does not benefit your life. It actually takes more effort to be selfish and self-centered than it does to be giving and caring. It's easy to be giving and caring. It's free. It makes people feel good. It makes you feel good. But being selfish makes others feel bad, and it makes you feel entitled and a nasty person. And it doesn't make for a great scenario. So I guess it's a positive in sense for you and a negative for others. But in reality, it's ultimately making your life a lot harder. You know, you can network with people. If you're networking with people, don't be selfish. Always ask what you could do for them. Never ask for a favor in return. It's almost like that. And then one day you might need a favor by chance, but you've proven that you're worthy. You're proven that you're there to help them. You're genuine. It's got to be genuine as well. It can't be for gain. Never do something for a gain. Do it just to do it. Do it because it feels good, and do it because the other person will feel good in return. And believe it or not, giving is a kind of a selfish thing because of the way it makes you feel. But it's a pure feeling. It's a good feeling. It's not, I'm going to gain off of you. I'm going to gain off of this relationship. Worst way to look at it. So moving forward, when I say do it from your heart with no expectations of it in return, that's how you should give. Always. Pick up a piece of trash that's on the floor that's not yours and put it in the garbage, even though you didn't make the mess. It's okay to do that. It's okay to feel like, hey, I want to contribute to this. It's okay to do that. A lot of people won't. There are people that won't even pick up a piece of trash that is theirs. They'll throw it short of a garbage pail. I mean, I lived in New York, and I've lived in the city area, in the metro area, and I've seen people do this. It's disgusting. It's so ridiculous how you could literally just throw a piece of trash on the floor and there's garbage right there. But people do it. Doesn't mean that you have to be spiteful enough to say, well, if they're doing it, I'm not going to be responsible for it. No, take responsibility. You could still live and feel like being a good person by doing that. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, I want to talk about something that a lot of people do. It's a very common one. Don't feel ashamed. But I think the idea of giving somebody a gift on a birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas, etc., is a dumb, dumb, dumb thing. I think it's stupid. Somebody is expecting a gift on a specific day. What is the element there? Gifts or giving should always be unexpected and feel like pure generosity. But I hear people bitching and complaining and feeling obligated during the holidays. It's weird. I worked in retail. I used to listen to people's conversations, even within my own family or friends just bitching and complaining, oh, I don't have money, or now I got to go get this for this person. I don't want to do this year. I don't want to exchange gifts. Well, you don't have to. Why? Because the other person will feel a certain type of way if you don't get them something because they're getting something for you. That completely destroys the whole concept of being generous. It does. It's stupid. And, oh, you're being a Grinch of the Holy Spirit. No, I'm not being a Grinch. I give to others all the time, whenever I can, unexpectedly. And there's no ceiling to that. And it comes from my heart always. And it makes me smile as much as it makes them smile. That's the beauty of it. Not a cheap person at all. I live my finances and things. I always live for others. I get the enjoyment of giving. That's not even the question. But I just think it's silly. And I don't like to receive gifts either. I don't like to receive gifts. Don't buy me a gift ever. I mean, I'll be grateful. Don't get me wrong if you did that for me, but I don't really care about that. I don't look to gain from the holidays. I don't look to gain from my birthday. I would love to have my friends around me and we could have a dinner together and celebrate and laugh. That to me is priceless. Those moments, memories, time shared together. I love the people that I spend my time with, but I don't need anything from them besides their time. That to me is the most valuable asset we have is our time. And who we divide it up and give it to, I think is amazing because you're never going to get that time back. So if you spend a day with me and we laugh and we talk and we connect and spend that time together, and that's what really is important. But this sense of giving because it's expected, it's like, oh, I buy this for you, you buy this for me. And I hear people saying, oh, no, I don't care if that person gets me anything. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, you believe this? I got them this, and they didn't do nothing for me. I mean, it's not like I expected anything, but like, geez. No, because you truthfully did want something in return, because you were feeling a certain type of way about it. I hear people all the time. I'm telling you, the holidays is crazy. I worked in retail, and I used to hear people complain about these things, and I think it's ridiculous. But in any case, do you really do enough for others at all? Would you do enough for somebody else? Would you do that? Would you help, I don't know, an elderly person, maybe your neighbor, maybe they were having issues with something in their backyard. Maybe there's weeds, and you just volunteered to just, dig up all the weeds in their house or cut them down and maybe cut their grass, maybe put a couple of nails in the wall for them to hang a picture. Just being a friendly person, being a neighbor, just for the simple fact, or knocking on their door and bringing them maybe brownies that you baked. Just because, unexpected. Would you be willing to do that? Do you do that? I would like to know. This is something that intrigues me because I feel that there's a lot of self-centered, selfish people in this world. I meet them on a daily basis. I've seen them, even people that I know, that in a lot of ways they have a lot of selfish ways about them, where they'd rather take a sandwich and stuff their face with it, knowing that their friend is hungry but doesn't have any money to buy, and wouldn't give them a bite. I think it's disgusting. But I know I've seen people do it. And I don't care if that person's like that to me. I don't care how many times you've done that to me. But if I buy a sandwich, I will always offer you half, or you can have the whole sandwich. You can have the whole thing. If you're hungry, by all means, take it. It will fill me knowing that you ate and you were not starving. That's how you have to be. That's the approach that I think will make this world really a better place to live. And it's more honorable. But we don't do that. Well, not all of us do. But imagine that. I mean, I want you to do some homework. Maybe you're too busy in your life and you never really thought about this. I'm not shaming anyone. Like I said, to each his own. If this is the way you live, these are my opinions, express opinions of myself and how I feel. but maybe you're busy in your life, you're caught up, and you're so, depending on where we live, there's hustle and bustle. Living in New York, everybody is running from point A to point B. They just pushing through, not really paying attention. But if you have a moment to really think for a second, and you notice that you have an opportunity to give, like give in a way that it's not simple. Donating money, it's nice. You donate to charity, that's cool. But do something that requires your time. Do something that requires you to engage with somebody and really make an impact. That's something that requires more. There's the effort that's required in there is not easy to do. It's not. It's really not. Engage with somebody. Help an old lady across the street. Maybe carry her groceries for her. If somebody doesn't look okay, or they look like they're having a hard time, sitting with them and talking with them, accompanying them, making them feel better. All these things require so much more. It's easy to give something selflessly in a cash form and just be on with your day. Now, yeah, you may have given a little bit, but you didn't spend the time. You didn't really engage with that person. And I think that if you can do something like that, that's a little homework for anybody that's willing to participate. Do it. And I want to know your story. I want to know how it turned out after you did that. How they felt after it. Maybe you made a connection with them. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you became friends with them. Who knows? And maybe you got a story in return. You sit down with somebody and you hear their reason why they're like that, or the reason why they feel like that, or what happened. And you never know. You get a story. You get an experience. You meet a new friend. You show that there is some decent people in the world, and it's not as cruel as it looks, and kindness can come from anywhere. So I want to hear your story. I want to see if you actually did that, because I see good gestures and grand gestures online all the time through videos, but I want some of my listeners, tell me a story. If you're that type of person, tell me. I would love to hear you. Well, this has been swell talking to you guys today, and I would love to hear back from you on the Meaningful Hearts Podcast at Gmail or on Instagram. I love you all. Thank you for listening.